Headhunter is a 1988 horror film from director Francis Schaeffer. The movie opens in Africa. A tribe is doing some sort of ritual. Perhaps this is to bless the rains? Something goes wrong and now the village is on fire. Meanwhile, in Miami, Florida, what's going on with the sky? Is this the day after the night of the comet? In an apartment, a witch doctor is also doing some sort of ritual. Either that or he's making smoked chicken. Outside, a parade's going on where people can't stop looking at the camera. Oh no! Whatever happened in Africa seems to be happening here. Oh, I know what happened. Somebody released the Deadites. The force bursts into his apartment and takes his head. Well, is the name of the movie after all. Nearby, a couple are having some quiet time. The guy makes it clear he doesn't like condoms.
This was like fucking an inner tube.
Wow. 1988, yep. This was definitely filmed during the height of the AIDS crisis. This is Kathy and Roger, but they call her by her nickname.
Kathy. Cat.
The couple hears a noise outside and goes to check it out. They're both armed. Are we sure this is in Texas? They see a shadow outside the window. Somebody begins to crawl in the kitchen, and wait a minute! When they showed the front of the house, the windows are all barred. Did they decide for some reason to just not put them here? And if this is supposed to be the second floor, who puts a kitchen on the second floor of their house? Roger grabs the guy, and it turns out it's Kat's partner, Pete. The three of them are cops. Pete's drunk because his wife threw him out of the house. Nice to see proper trigger discipline in a movie. Kat offers to let him stay on the couch, and Roger uses that as his cue to leave. The next day, oh, why did anyone think they would look good with knee-high black socks? Kat's on the way to work. Exciting monorail footage! Do people just hang out in front of the police station? Pete is suffering from a tremendous hangover. He's telling Kat his wife left him for someone else. Meanwhile, in the background, Officer Chad is talking about his sexual exploits. The shot is, every 30 seconds or so, she wants me to go boom at the top of my lungs. Is it me or does Pete look like Dr. Forrester's brother? The captain comes in and has a very Van Driesen way about him.
Fine day, isn't it? Sun is shining, breeze is warm.
He gives Pete the case of the guy who was decapitated. The two head out to the crime scene. This crime scene is a big mess.
Looks like someone had a do-it-yourself lunch meat party.
They find a letter from Nigeria, so they decide to question some of the locals. They also find the body, but can't seem to locate his head. That's some good parking there, Pete. He stops at his house to pick up his things. Upset, he's digging through his closet to gather his stuff. Things get heated, and Pete drops this gem.
Stay out of this and get out of my way!
Don't you come in here shoving us around like you own this place!
I do own the place!
His wife Denise is the blonde. I wonder who this other one is. Oh. Oh!
What is your mother gonna think, huh? My wife is a muff diver!
Kat comes in to get him out before things get really bad. Okay, they're already bad. She comes to get him before they get worse. This gentleman stops into a Voodoo's R Us to give the owner a wad of cash. Hey! That's just a 20 on top of a stack of ones to make it look like it's a lot of money. Anyway, they pray for a while, but the demon still shows up and cuts off their heads. I guess he should have paid full price. Hey, it's a Derpy Bird cameo. Pete and Kat are on the scene. Pete hears some chanting and goes to check it out. He meets the shaman, Juru, who tells him how his tribe is cursed by the headhunter who's now in the US. Pete brings him in for questioning. Juru tells him the headhunter is there to collect the heads of the people who fled from Nigeria. I don't entirely understand this.
The planets rotate around the sun in an eternal orbit. Chakati Tumo is like an evil sun with its own gravity.
The captain then tells them to hold Juru overnight while they investigate further. That night, Kat lets Pete sleep on the couch or the floor using the cushions from the couch. Pete takes this opportunity to make a pass at her.
So, why didn't we ever fool around, huh?
It doesn't work. That night, well, this is an extreme way to remove unwanted nose hairs. He certainly is a deep sleeper. Pete gets stabbed and wakes up, but it's really a dream. He sees Kathy next to him, and it's another dream! Dreamception! At a local park, it's the Jesus Come Back Choir.
Jesus, Jesus, come back.
The pastor doesn't seem to know what he's talking about. Is this his first time doing this?
We come today to ask you to open and to pour the Spirit in our sister. Oh Lord, you listen to me!
He takes a lady to baptize her in the lake. This is an odd place for a shark. Wait, are they saying Jesus come back or Jesus call back?
Jesus call back.
So no one sees this blade thing sticking out of the water? Uh-oh, it's the headhunter doing his thing. The pastor then nopes it out of there. Pete and Kat go to see Mr. Juru at his house. He politely tells them off about arresting him.
Had you known about my standard of living, would you still have put me in jail? Or perhaps your paranoia is so great that you would have suspected my crimes also included burglary?
Juru tells them more about the headhunter. He says the headhunter will kill anyone who tries to stop him. Since they're investigating the beheadings, that makes them targets. That afternoon, what?
Administrator is blaming MTV and Playboy magazine for helping fuel these riots.
Who said that? The church lady? They go to a bar to meet up with Roger when Pete sees Juru acting strange, so he follows him. Oh no, this guy's back. Pete's gone for a while, so Kat and Roger go to look for him. Pete's chasing Juru. He seems to be a little out of shape. He then chases him straight into Silent Hill. He's walking through a hallway when something knocks him out a window. Oh, discarded meat left out in the hot sun. That's gotta smell just wonderful. Kat finds him, and Pete doesn't remember what happened. Here comes Roger!
Hey, what's happening, guys?
He doesn't seem too bright. Back at the station, oh no. Pete's not having the best day.
You dago sure are messy eaters.
That night, the two are at the bar. I hope he showered. Kat tells Pete Roger's coming over, so he stays at the bar to give him some time together. Seems like the headhunter is also a voyeur. Kat gets a message from Roger canceling their date because he has to work overtime. She then gets a message from Pete about a potential lead on the case. Since she has nothing else to do, she goes to find him. Uh-oh, this is most definitely a trap. She walks around for a while until stumbling upon some kind of ritual. Then in comes the headhunter with a pro wrestler intro. She runs away and is chased by the tribe. She shoots one just as backup arrives. Kat tells them to be on the lookout for 60 people with torches, but they think she's nuts. Pete shows up, but she doesn't believe it's him, so he proves it.
Your ex-husband sounded like a mouse, my wife. My wife likes women.
They search the train and find Juru. Since he's dead, they break into his place to search for clues. They go looking for a guy named Professor Sinclair and stumble onto the director's uncle.
Excuse me, are you Professor Sinclair?
Sorry, Professor Sinclair, number 44.
They then go to the right room to meet the professor. He wrote a book about decapitations, and they hope to get some info from him. The professor tells them the only way to stop the headhunter is complete dismemberment. Thank you for your help, your coffee's awful. Since the professor helped the cops, the headhunter bull rushes and kills him. The captain's changed over the course of the movie. In the beginning, he was all,
fine day, isn't it? Sun is shining, breeze is warm.
But now he's...
I'd known that you were still investigating some jungle hocus pocus. I would have yanked your asses off the street a long time ago.
The captain continues to argue.
Or maybe get the public involved. You know, maybe they can help. This could affect them also.
But right now, it doesn't. Okay? So let's not go and create some kind of damn panic.
10 people were decapitated in like 3 days, but he doesn't want to cause a panic. They arrive on the scene with a guy waving a bloody machete saying he's the headhunter. The police shoot the guy, and I was not expecting this reaction. The chief thinks they got the headhunter, but Kat and Pete know it wasn't him. Plus, they still need to dismember him if it was. Back at Kat's place, Roger calls up to ask her out for dinner. Pete thinks Roger might be the headhunter. Roger arrives, and Pete is checking him out. Flowers? For me? They sit down, and Kat tries to come up with a reason as to why they're acting so weird. She's not good at this.
No, actually, we have a bet going.
Okay, neither is he.
What is it?
Kat bet that you were... No, actually, I bet that you were 6'5". Kat bet that you were 6'2".
Pete decides to go to the bar. Roger and Kat decide to stay in, so he goes out to get some Chinese food. Uh-oh. Pete gets a call from his wife, who wants him to come over to talk. More uh-oh. Hold on. The headhunter went to go pick up Chinese? Why is it with everyone else, he just flat out murders them, but when it comes to these two, he tries to be sneaky? Pete's talking to Denise, but something's up. She comes on really strong. No way. Hey, why do you taste like oxtail? "Oh, it's you, headhunter!" Pete then goes out his second window. The headhunter rips off his door, he gets away, and the door magically reappears. Pete then rushes back to save Kat. "Hurry, boy, she's waiting there for you!" He stops at a hardware store to get a weapon. Axe? Machete? Nope. Chainsaw. Fake Roger shows up with the Chinese. Pete speeds along, making goofy faces. He arrives to see the headhunter's true form. The headhunter walks into Kat's room and, She jumps out of its way, but why? Her back is to him. How does she know he's the headhunter? So previously, the headhunter easily kills people, but now is somehow stopped by random furniture. Why is a wooden table sparking? Also, why is he wearing a bathrobe? Pete arrives to save the day. This is awesome.
All right, hooga booga, let's dance!
Electric sword versus chainsaw. The duo then start hacking limbs off the headhunter. They chop off his head and he explodes, but then the budget runs out. The police arrive, and Pete shows them the remains of the headhunter. Kat and Pete go to the hospital, but it's not over! This was the second film from director Francis Schaeffer. His first was a film called Wired to Kill, about a Christian man who murders a group of thugs to protect his family. His films often had a religious angle to them. Rising Storm was about a post-apocalyptic future ruled by a fascist televangelist. Headhunter was no different, with the focus on African voodoo. Kay Lenz played Kat. She's been in tons of movies and TV over the years, from House to Breezy to The Tick. Wayne Crawford was Pete. You might remember him as Walker from White Ghost. With his wit, Crawford usually played sarcastic heroes like Jake Speed, or over-the-top bad guys like in White Ghost. He worked with Schaeffer again in 1989 on Rising Storm, which also starred June Chatwick, who played his wife in Headhunter. Sadly, Wayne died in 2016 of cancer. Headhunter is an unusual movie. It's about two cops investigating an ancient demon, lopping people's heads off, but it chooses to focus a good chunk of its time dealing with Pete's failed marriage. There's some cool stuff here. The electric sword is neat, but we didn't get much else from the headhunter. He usually just shows up in a POV shot and removes someone's head shaky cam style. They don't really explain too much about the headhunter, like how it only disguised itself when it was convenient to the plot. Other times, if it wanted to go after someone, it just flat out killed them. Also, the final battle was the best part of the movie, but still a little underwhelming. Pete and Kat fight the demon off in a tiny backyard with an axe and a chainsaw. This monster that's taken thousands of lives is dispatched in a few minutes by two exhausted cops. The movie's flawed but enjoyable, mostly due to Kay Lenz and Wayne Crawford. They take everything very seriously in a film that seems to take itself not too seriously.
I want to personally thank you for all that you've done for us.
The chemistry they have with each other, as well as the various elements the characters go through, makes you forget about the film's many dull moments. I would have loved to have seen another movie with these two characters. Maybe not them fighting the headhunter, but somehow heading up a division of the Miami PD that investigates unusual cases. The Florida Man Files.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Okay, let's go check this out.
Check what out?